patch notes overview for 3.8 The Perfect Storm. In this patch, we've got lots of balance changes, some great skins, and the newest SMITE god, Susanoo. Let's take a look at all the new skins that are coming in 3.8. First up, Apollo is ready to rock in his new Vicious skin, which will be added to the season ticket. He's got punky hairstyle, ripped clothes, and of course, a badass tattoo. Speaking of badass, Giannis is getting a ridiculously cool Rift Shaker skin this patch. He's now made of rocks, wood, moss, and even has little mushrooms growing on him. Loki is getting 2 new skins this patch as a part of the Jokes on You bundle. Purchase Jokey before May 24th and you'll unlock Last Laugh for free. Xbalanque is also getting a new skin this patch. Jag.rar is a futuristic skin, and similar to Mercury's Run.exe, the skin's color, details, and effects change slowly during a match. Nemesis is getting a new Tier 2 with her Red Vengeance skin, and Raijin is getting his Mastery skins. This patch, we're also releasing an Allied icon for free with the code #AlliedStrong. There are a few Conquest map changes this patch. The biggest change is the return of the speed buff from Season 2. This will allow junglers to roam more easily and disrupt multiple lanes. We're also relocating back Harpies and some quality of life improvements to boars and fire elementals. Moving on to item changes. Since there are so many, I'm going to be focusing on the bigger changes, but you can read the entire list of item and god changes in the patch notes on SmiteGame.com. First up, Bloodforge is receiving a few changes with an increased cost, increased power, and a new passive where killing an enemy god forges a shield and gives a movement speed buff. Rod of Asclepius is seeing an increased health and aura. Rod of Healing has a new passive where the healing and health regeneration of allies is increased by 10%. Lastly, Wind Demon also receives a new passive this patch. Critical hits now increase attack and movement speed, so this will allow players to deal more damage upon critting and allow better positioning. Next up is God Balance. Chalk is receiving a few buffs this patch with an increased slow on Rain Dance and increased base damage for Stormcall. Nemesis sees a few buffs to help her early game. Scales of Fate get an increased power gain and power loss, and Divine Judgment sees an increased protection stealing to 50% at all ranks. Raijin gets a few adjustments this patch. His Percussive Storm sees an increased projectile speed, and for Taiko Drums, time and air is increased and the movement penalty is reduced. Vamana's Armored Umbrella's physical power scaling is reduced, while his Umbrella Rang's physical power scaling is increased. Lastly, Xingqian is seeing a few buffs this patch. His Furious Roar sees an increased duration and base damage, along with a decreased bot damage. Hook Slam now roots instead of slows, and Whirlwind of Rage and Steel gets an increased casting time, new animation, and cooldown reduction. And finally, let's talk about the new SMITE god, Susanoo, god of the Summer Storm. Susanoo is a Japanese assassin. His passive, Swift as the Summer Storm, gives Susanoo a movement speed bonus for each ability that's on cooldown. His first ability is Storm KATA, where he can attack up to 3 times in quick succession. His next ability, Wind Siphon, sends a cone of wind in front of him, damaging enemies in the area and pulling enemies in the center of the cone towards him. With his third ability, Jetstream, Susanoo throws a whirlwind forward, damaging an enemy hit and traveling with them. He can then activate the ability again to teleport to the whirlwind. Lastly, his ultimate is Typhoon. He summons a hurricane at his location that pulls enemies towards the center of it, while the hurricane grows. He can activate the ability again to launch the storm in whatever direction he's facing, knocking up enemies in its path and dealing damage. Thanks for watching the patch notes overview for 3.8 The Perfect Storm. As always, you can read the complete patch notes on SmiteGame.com or click on the annotations to see the patch notes show.